I just want to show you where I am this morning. I hope you can hear this. Kind of looks like a little jungle over here. And we're going to talk a little bit about subconscious mind and how your circumstances can either control you or how you can take authority over them. It's really beautiful here right now. I'm actually in Hollywood. I got stranded last night. Came down to do some work in YouTube studios with a friend of mine, with Sandy. And we did some really cool little things, and she was doing some really cool work for her YouTube channel. And on my way back, my car decided to have an issue, and the radiator blew out. It actually wasn't the radiator. It started smoking really badly. I actually thought the car was going to blow up. Talk about what you think creates reality, right? So I was sitting there watching the hood smoke, and we're stuck in traffic, not really moving. And finally I pulled over and I opened the hood, and there was no coolant in the little thing. I had just gotten it out of service not too long ago, and so whatever happened there, they didn't get it filled back up. So that wasn't helpful. So got it over to finally a, I want to say a car fix-it place, a mechanic shop, I guess. I got it over to a mechanic shop, and he took a look at it. But before that even happened, it was interesting because I was going to get back on the highway. I stopped at a gas station. The guy filled it up with water, said, go ahead and get on home. I had a 5-hour drive ahead of me, and I got spun back around in traffic. My GPS was telling me verbally to go one way and had a picture going the opposite direction. And so I went the way that it was verbally telling me and ended up on a totally wrong direction, but where it stuck me was right next to a mechanic's shop. So God really took care of me on that one. But what's happened since then is it was an $80 trip drive down to LA. It's turned into over a $700 trip at this point, including hotel fees, which is actually where I am right now. This is absolutely beautiful. And so what do you do, when you're stuck in a situation like this, where the thing that you thought you were doing was going to be, so much, cost so much, and you were doing a certain thing, and then out of that certain thing, all of a sudden you end up with a, this is probably going to be over $1,000 bill before it's over, and really not so hard to do in a place like this. And I think the most interesting part of the whole thing is it's literally how you let yourself think when you come into situations like this. Where do you allow your mind to go? And what I am doing right now is I'm walking around. I'm actually kind of just checking out the area. But what I want to do, let me turn my camera around here. What I want to do is I want to show you the things that I do specifically to keep my head on straight. If I go down there, it gets really dark. To keep my head on straight when things get bad. And so, in a process like this, you could either start telling yourself all kinds of stories about how bad it is and how much money you're going to have to spend and all the stuff that's going on, or you could sit and enjoy the beauty, which is what I'm doing. You could think of other ways to think about it. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing more videotaping. I'm doing more things on YouTube. Every time my car comes into my head and I go into a bad thought pattern, I put that thought pattern into a whole brain state. Because what I don't want it to do is I don't want something like this to follow me into tomorrow. I don't want situations where, life was really good yesterday. I was having a ton of fun with some really great people doing some really great work. And then all of a sudden today, this is just craziness. And actually last night this started craziness in my head. But if you start immediately telling yourself a different narrative, telling yourself, and not things like it's not so bad, because, it's not so bad isn't an absolute positive. So, visualizing the car part as if he's already got it, because he called me last night and told me he was going to have trouble getting the car part. So I'm already visualizing that in his hands. I'm already thinking about how wonderful my drive home is going to be. And mostly because I love the drive between here and San Francisco. It's absolutely beautiful, and I really love the drive. And I'm talking to myself in loving ways. I'm taking the time while I have the time, while there's really nothing else I can do, to remind myself how glorious life is and how beautiful the things around me are. And then obviously, clearly I stepped out into this back patio area. I didn't even know this was here at this hotel. And this is absolutely gorgeous. So those are the things that you start thinking about and doing. I'm going to keep trailing this through the day. I'll probably throw one of these on every hour and turn this into a little mini series of how things are going, because I'll be super honest, last night while I was laying in bed, a couple of the thoughts that crossed through my head were, I really don't want to be here. I just want to be home, right? And if I had followed that track and let myself kept saying that, I would have ended up in a pattern or in a thought process in my head that wouldn't have allowed me to step out this morning and probably see the beauty in this day and see all the beauty that's around here. So you have to find a different thing, a different switch to click on and say something different to yourself. So when I started saying I don't want to be here, I gave myself a few pats on the back for actually getting the car stopped in a good place and finding somewhere else to move to, you know, as far as getting off the road, because the road was really packed. I'm not used to driving in traffic like that either. So that was a good thing. You know, and just give yourself props on that kind of stuff. And then moving forward. Hi. So I think that's the biggest thing that you can think about in situations like this, is how do you move forward and how do you keep yourself in a positive headspace. So I literally was putting my thoughts about this in a whole brain state last night, and keeping it cleared so it doesn't get stuck in my subconscious, so it doesn't get stuck in a place where it could turn into, you know, patterns down the road. And you know, that's one of my patterns from years and years ago, is I don't want to do this. I don't like this. I'm not having fun with this, right? Because of where I came from in my childhood. So when that popped back into my head, I was like, oh, no way. So make sure you get that stuff back out before it seals in there and, you know, starts turning into patterns that you really don't want to see in your life. All right, so it's probably about 7, might be 8 o'clock or so this morning. I am in Hollywood, so how bad could it be, right? So we're going to go walk in the streets, and I'm going to go look for a good cup of coffee somewhere. And we'll see what we can find. And I'll keep updating you on how it goes, where my thoughts go, and then how I counter the thoughts. So far this morning, you know, it's just been, okay, let's get up and wait for the mechanic to call, because I can't really do anything until I know what's going on. So I'm in a holding pattern. And in my holding pattern, I'm just going to go out and enjoy what's around me. So I hope this helps. If you're in a cycle or a pattern or something going on in your day right now, stop yourself in this minute and reset your internal structure. And even if it's just as much as finding something that makes you feel good. So for me, it was walking out into this patio area and seeing how beautiful it was here. And that really helped me click back in and reset everything. So find something that you can do like that. And if you think there's nothing around you, go inside, go internal. Find a memory, a thought, or something that you've seen or done before, somewhere you've been before, that can give you that better feeling inside, right? Because it's that chemical uplift that we're after. We want those good chemicals in the system as long as we can possibly keep them there. That's what's going to keep changing your subconscious mind, your thoughts related to your actions. It'll all keep changing as you keep doing that. All right. I will see you again in probably about an hour or so.